I got 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call the Parks and Rec Committee meeting to order. If you would look over the minutes from the past meetings, if see any additions, corrections to be made. If not, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Clarity to approve. I have a second. Second by Burton. All in favor, say aye. All right. Looks like we do have enough here for a quorum. I know Richard was not going to be here tonight. He was at the funeral home. If y'all didn't know, his daughter-in-law just passed away. So if y'all would keep him in his family in the prayers. The reason I wanted to call the meeting, postseason is about to come to an end, and we got election coming up, and it's going to be hectic next month or so. So I don't know if we'll have a meeting in August or not, and then it could be some new commissioners on this committee and all. That's right. I want to try to have a meeting tonight. We might try to have another in August or sometime to get the closing of the final numbers for the closing of the pool. But the first thing on our discussion items is pool season. Mr. Cliff's here and he's give us a handout. Looks like the breakdown of the expenses and revenue reports. So Cliff, I'll turn it over to you to give us an update.
Okay. Basically, we've ran the pool the same as we have every year. The pump down at Volunteer. Well, it started and then it stopped. It was on. I mean, okay. So we were at Volunteer Pool with a new pump. It was between $6,000 and $8,000. I just don't have that price here in front of me. All she gave me was the totals for the night. Once we get the pool shut down and get everybody paid and out the door, we'll tally everything and have an exact amount. Right now, we're looking at $10,384.52 in loss. And our best year, as I recall, was around $5,500. Our worst year was $12,000. So we're still in that range. This pump really hurt us this year. If it hadn't been for that, we would be actually looking at a pretty good year this year. Other than that, we've had a few issues up there, but it's gone pretty good. I'd like to see the help, a little more help. We've lost 2 assistant managers. We've had to move a couple of the guards up to assistant managers, and we've just struggled with help this year. It's been a hard year, but we're getting there. The end's in sight.
Any questions for Cliff on the pool?
Does the payroll, the $13,344.41, does that include the bonuses that we put in for those that?
No, those bonuses, like I said, we'll have all that when we close the pool and get everybody paid out, and then we'll have that total. Next time we meet, I'll have all the information on those.
And I see the volunteer pool. Did we, you said somewhere in the $6,000 to $8,000 range for that pump? I assume we had 3 quotes for that pump. Is that correct?
No, we didn't. We had 2 quotes. That was the only one left in the United States. 2 people bid the same pump, and people here in Hartsville could get their hands on it as quick as the guys in Lebanon. So that's the one we went with. It's an exact match to the one that was in there, 1986 model. It just, we were kind of in a tight spot with this pump. We already had it up and running. We had everything going. We had a little old thunderstorm or something that knocked out one leg on the pump. Probably 3 years ago, we had Robbie Atwood come up and look at it. He got everything going again. But when we took the pump and had it rebuilt, we pulled everything off to the shaft, and that shaft wasn't stainless steel. It's been pitting and rotting, and we're probably losing 300 to 500 gallons of water a day in there with that pump. So we just had to go another way. It was still running. I kept the motor. We kept some of the old parts, the tank, the basket, the lid, the seals, and all that stuff because it's exact match and interchangeable. So we still have a pretty good parts list in case we have another problem with this newer pump. But no, we didn't bid it at all.
What is it, a solution? Maybe we can try to work next year about the help or what, I mean, I guess it's everywhere. Nobody can get help doing anything anymore.
I've, we've tried everything to keep the help. You know, last time we had a meeting, we had 6 going to the Civic Center in Gallatin to try to get trained and certified. We had 1 make it through out of the 6. So we've just been batting 1,000 since we started this year. And like I said, we're going to do our level best to keep it open, and that's what we did. It was a struggle, but we've managed to make it.
I think I see and I appreciate the effort. I know it seems to be what we hear everywhere in all pieces, the struggle to keep employees and keep people at this point working. But it seems like from what I've heard from a lot of those kids that we hear in town and the people that we talk to that are using that pool, it's been a very exciting opportunity to continue to get back to using it. Do we have anything on numbers of average number of people that used per day?
It's anywhere from 2 to 102, usually 30 to 75. And it doesn't have anything to do with the weather. We've had 25 up there and run them out because of thunderstorms. We had 2 up there Monday, and had 75 Tuesday, you know, for the night party and stuff. So I just can't, you never know what's going to show up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we couldn't schedule pool parties for like the weekend and maybe stay open later a couple of 3 days a week. Maybe that would help with getting more people up there, because Tuesday nights does seem to be a good night, a busy night, and a lot of people do enjoy that.
So do you have a record somewhere of those exact numbers on what days where we might could look at that data and use that to give us an idea? Like you said there, that maybe you reserve Saturdays for more pool parties. And you reserve
Maybe just Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know. Wednesday, almost everything's closed because of church, and Friday and Saturday and Sunday are going to be good party nights. You know, I don't have any numbers like that. The only study we have is what we've done on Tuesday nights.
But you do have numbers somewhere on what you've done on Tuesday nights?
I don't have it in front of me. We'll have it next meeting. Like I said, I'll have all the numbers next meeting. We just brought you what I had tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anything else we need to discuss on the pool, Mr. Cliffs? I did have.
The pool's coming apart. We've got several spots that we've been patching with some stuff called pool patch. It's an underwater patch repair. Now we've got a couple breaking loose in the deep end. We're going to have to drain it down enough that we can get in there and work on it. I've handed this around to some of the guys that were here earlier. This is just what's come up through the vacuum in the baskets. We've picked up several more pieces, probably more than this we've picked up out of the bottom of the pool while we're patching it. And I don't know what's causing it. I don't have any idea. It's just popping loose.
Do we know how old that liner of that I know it's a concrete liner, but when was that concrete liner put in?
I'd have to check. I want to say 2007 or 8, maybe 9. I just have to go back and look at some paperwork and maybe talk to my predecessor. He probably remembers. He's the one that had it done.
It'd be good to know what the life expectancy of one of those is and when we did actually put it in.
Maybe you can have that information at the next meeting we have to give us the final numbers, everything.
Yes, sir.
I did have someone talking about it. There's a lot of vulgarity and all that around the pool and the park. I mean, I don't know what the solution is to that. I mean, do y'all have any solutions, what we could try to do for?
Around the park or around inside the pool? Both. The pool should be something we could take care of inside the pool gates.
From what I've been told, it was some of the employees at the pool doing it. I don't know whether that's 100% right or not, but
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I think we've, banned 6 from the pool so far this year. I'd have to talk to my manager again and see, but I'm pretty sure that I know there's been more than that on a daily, but I think there's 6 that's been kicked out for the year. So, I mean, when we catch them, we do something about it. It's just a matter of catching them in the act.
I've also been told that down there at the amphitheater, that there's been going down there and playing some vulgar music and stuff that you could hear up to the pool. Is there any way we can cut the electricity off of that until somebody rents it and uses it?
We cut it off. They're using Bluetooth speaker boxes, and with their phones, I mean, we don't have any control over the power to that. We've actually found that they've actually left some Bluetooth boxes, speaker boxes over there. We found them. Some of them are worth over $100. I looked them up online. I thought maybe they'd be worthless and just throw them away, but no, we have them if somebody wants to come claim them.
Do we have a policy in our school, I'm sorry, in our park, rules that speaks anything to vulgarity, if that's a problem that we're having here, vulgar language, playing music with vulgar language in this case going through? Do we have anything in our policy that's a fine or anything of that nature that we, if caught, that could be a fine? I'm missing that understanding. Is it in our policy anywhere at this point?
I'm not aware of it. I don't think there's anything like that in place. I don't know how we'd enforce it. I'm open to suggestions.
It's no policy that I know of either. I mean, as the guy that you got down, working the park at evenings or whatever, does that help, deter any of the stuff going on?
It's helped with a lot of the litter. It helped a whole lot 4th of July with the fireworks. We didn't lose any toilets, no bathrooms were caught on fire. They tried to catch one on fire, but the paint we've put in there, I don't know what it is, but you can see where it looks like they burn up 2 good lighters and put blisters on their hands. They didn't get the bathroom caught on fire. Not as many fireworks we picked up. I think we had a good year this year so far as the park goes. Bobby's doing a real good job in there.
Hey Cliff, back to the pool surface in the bottom. Do you know if that's a gunite pool or if it's
Marblite.
Marblite? Okay. So do you just come back and put the epoxy type paint down over that, or is it actually you come back over with another coating of that?
What we're getting is deep holes in the pool. The Marblite is gone. So we're refilling it with what they call pool patch. It's just a mix similar to what's in there now. And it's about the same color, but that's all we have.
When the alkalinity is high, a lot of times aggregate pools will come apart, more times than not. And I'm sure that stuff is probably higher susceptible to it than like straight Marmolite is, and the gunite is, because it's more pliable. It's a liquid when you put down, this sets up. I mean, you're fighting a losing battle with that. It's going to keep doing it. So you guys have to go in there and fix it. I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, it's something starting of the next spring or next year pool season, we're gonna have to make a decision, maybe what to do on
The mayor suggested a tarp. We've looked into the tarp. It's pretty expensive. I'd like to get one for maybe when we get the pool refinished or whatever we do moving forward. We're going to patch it all the best we can. We're going to look into sealing it, resealing it this year, and just try to get another 2 or 3 years out of it. I'm going to have some people come in. I'm going to show them what I have in this bag, and we're going to take it from there. I don't want to just say this, we're going to have to put a new pool in. We need to have it done before we open next year. I really like to kind of see this down the road a little bit. I don't think we should give up on it now. It's not that old. I think we can patch it and get another 3 to 5 years out of it. That's my hope.
So I like what you're saying there with this case of getting some individuals in there to look at it, to know what it is and see how many years we can get back out of it with some patching of those pieces. What kind of timeline are we looking at to get that started? Because I don't want to be looking at March and saying, hey, we can't get this completed. We all know today it takes more time to get things scheduled. You say, hey, I want this done, and they say, hey, it's 6 months out or so before I can get here. I just want to make sure that we have a timeline where we get started on that piece. And what do we need to help you with to get that timeline moving? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. I mean, I explained what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna patch these holes and try to find some kind of a sealer to reseal the pool and try to get a few more years out of it. That's an in-house deal. It shouldn't take us no more than a few days. We're gonna drain the pool down this fall and fix it the best we can to, whatever Madison Pools or whoever I can get to talk to give me some information on it. That's what we're gonna try to do.
All I was asking, is there any way we here as Parks Committee can help you out to ensure that we move in the right direction to start that piece? I hear what you're saying and I appreciate it. I'm sure there's somebody in the pool community that might understand what the needs of that pool definitely more than I would. And is there a way we can help you? That's all I was asking.
Unless you just want to come up and take a look at it. I mean, I don't really understand what else I can do. I can't do anything until I get the pool drained down and actually let them look at the surface and, what Madison, I won't say Madison told me this, but what the pool repair guys said when they redid it is as long as we keep it wet, we'll be in pretty good shape for quite a while. And they, we've kept it full of water. We've kept it wet. We pressure wash it, clean it up and fill it back up in the day or start filling it back up. We've done everything we can do to keep it as healthy as a surface as we could, but it's starting to fail. And, this is the first year it's gave us any problems. So we're just now getting to attack this.
Is there anything else we need to discuss on this?
But do you think if we maybe put a fiberglass liner in it, would that solve the problem or whatever?
I don't know anything about them. I mean, we do what we're told, by the manufacturers and the installers, and that's all we can do. I don't know. I'll ask, but I don't know.
When I was in college, I worked for a pool installer in a summer job. Fiberglass pools come in one piece and you can't haul a tub in that size. They would have to come and they would have to put it together on the spot. And that would be more money than putting another pool in. You can't put a drop-in liner in it with coping around the sides because it's a municipal pool. Somebody's going to cut that liner. It's not like it's your house. They can come back, they can resurface it, and then you can put a sealer over it, which extends the life of it. But it's a chlorine-based pool. It's not a saline-based pool. Chlorine definitely dries out aggregates. If the pH level is just a little bit high, that also, it breaks down aggregates over a period of time. The sealers are more of an epoxy base, so they're a little more resilient. They're also really slick on the bottom, which I don't know if that's a problem or not, but most of those sealers are really slick. You can't really stand up on them. But I can tell you that a fiberglass comes in one piece. We tried, like I said, trying to piece it would be a complete moot point. It would cost $100K or more.
Cliff, I appreciate the information you brought us here and everything.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
And we will try to have when is the pool closes this Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes, sir.
So if you would get us some figures, maybe we'll try to have a meeting sometime in August or sometime
sir.
1st of September.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody else got any questions for Cliff?
Could we possibly have someone look at the pool? Seems like it'd be worth our while to have a pool. Some individual come in and look at our pool that understands that type of pool and give us suggestions where we can have an idea where we need to move to have this thing up and ready to run and fixed so that it can continue to be a useful piece for our community for 3 to 5 more years, as you said, or longer. as it is. So it might be good to have someone, let's find someone that can come in and look over that pool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and not beating a dead horse in the head here, but also it would behoove us to look into moving into a saline pool. A lot of municipalities and a lot of commercial pools are moving into saline above to chlorine, because it is nowhere near as hard on the pool itself. And it's once you get it up and running, it's really easy to maintain, provided there's no static electricity hits from lightning nearby or whatever, which takes out those little circuit boards. But other than that, I mean, saline pools are easier to maintain.
Well, let's get through this year and then we'll let Cliff do what he's gonna do and he'll try to get us the information. Everything's been asked tonight, so Cliff, you'll try to get that to us. Let's move on to Mr. Jewett.
Man, I think this issue is one of the reasons that a lot of the municipalities are getting rid of their pools and going to splash pads, because they get the same bang, but don't have the maintenance issues with them that you have with the pool. I don't know if that's something that we want to explore sometime into the future, but I do know that that's one of the rationale that, for people going that direction in other places.
I think that splash pad was approved when they came in and redone all this work over the 10-year period for the park, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Wasn't a splash pad approved when they done the redoing the park over the 10-year period?
There's a plan in place, but you're going through it piece by piece and having to do it piece by piece. So you didn't come in and approve funding over $10 million. So right now we were working on the park and then we were going to move on to the next thing in the line. But I mean, the splash pad was one of the proposals in the master plan that was approved by the committee, but the first project up was the playground.
Lafette just recently, in the last year and a half or so, completely resurfaced and revamped their pool. It wouldn't hurt for us to reach out to those folks and find out who did that work. I've been up there, took my grandson to swim lessons up there, and that pool's incredible now.
I mean, that sounds like a good idea.
We can do that. Yes, sir.
Anything else related to the pool? All right, we'll move on to B, ballpark lights. Can you give us an update on that, Mayor?
I'm probably a little more in the know than him about it. I talked to Mr. Sloan last week. Engineering has approved everything. They've sent it to the manufacturer in Texas, and that's where we're at. We're in manufacturing now, so they'll reach out to us when they get ready for us to start doing our part over here. If not, I'll keep in touch with Wayne and Mr. Sloan, and we'll as soon as we can get started, we'll start our part. I know we'd like to get through fall ball and football before we start making a mess over in the fields, but it just really depends on when those poles are going to be ready. We don't have a forecast on that yet as far as a delivery date. So before we really started going over and doing a lot of digging and messing stuff up and it's sitting there barren for a year, I'd kind of like to wait and see when our poles are going to be here.
So what do you think when did you think we can make it? You say it's, go over that again, but did you say it's where it's at now, engineer?
They just cleared engineering approval from an engineering company in New York. They've shipped the plans, approved plans to a manufacturer in Texas. And that's all I have is they're in manufacturing. I don't know when they'll be here, how far along we are, or anything like that. Mr. Sloan don't know. I mean, that's all he could give me. So I mean, we're just kind of in a holding pattern.
Has anybody got any more questions regarding this? All right, we'll move on to C, the Trey Park Playground Grant. Mayor,
We recently submitted a new bid, excuse me, a new budget draft. They told us just fill in some numbers because once we get an engineering firm or whoever's going to help us with this in place, they're going to help us get the numbers nailed down. We are actually put out a request for qualification for firms to come in and help us design it. That was one of the requirements of the grant. And Mr. Beller, even though we had Kimley Horn help us with the previous one, given the increased scope and cost of the project, Mr. Beller's advice was that we bid this out to make sure we don't create any issues about procurement and following policy. So we're doing that right now. We hope to get responses, should be on the 28th. And I have tentatively scheduled a professional services section committee meeting for August 4th. So that'll give us about a week or so to follow up on the firms who submit, reach out to places they use as references, get feedback on them and do an evaluation on August 4th. Pick a firm and then submit that to the state and let them know who we picked. And the last I heard, about the third week of August, they should send the revised contract to us for signing. And then we can start moving forward on the project after that.
any questions for the mayor in regard to this?
Trying to look back through my minutes here, where are we at in the refinishing of some of the playground equipment there?
That has been rolled into the grant, and until we sign the grant contract, anything we spend, we can't get reimbursed for. So the TDEC has asked me to hold off on that till we sign the grant contract, and then we're gonna move forward. So then we can get reimbursed on it.
So is that company still willing to meet that same budget that they had looked at with us back in, I think, maybe March or April? I can't remember the exact date. I was trying to look back.
As we go forward, we'll probably have to do another bidding on that because it was over $10,000. Well, that was just a quote she gave us out of a courtesy. So as we're actually moving forward, we'll have to bid it because it's over $10,000 and that's required.
Any more questions or?
Do we know anything on the disc golf, or has a guy got in touch about the football field he was wanting to put in?
The disc golf, the last I heard, he was still trying to get no sponsors. I haven't heard much from them in the last few months, so I don't know where that's at. And the gentleman from the football field, I talked to him at one of the events here recently, and he had some other things going on. And since he got done with those, he was going to get with me and we were going to try to start working on that proposal. But he had some other projects he was working on right now.
So is the disc golf guy still trying to reach out and get donations, or I hadn't heard nothing of him here?
The last contact I had with him, he was still trying to get donations, and I haven't heard from him, like I said, in a couple months.
Just remind me a little bit on the disc golf piece. Are we under any contract with them?
We are not. It was just a proposal they made, and they were going to get everything together and then buy it and donate it to the county. So no, there was no agreements or anything like that. And this was not a proposal we requested. It's just basically an unsolicited proposal, and they were going to make a donation once they got it all done.
That's all I've got. Anybody else got any questions or anything else we need to bring up for other business? Any other business we need to bring up? Mr. Taylor? Well, I gotta, I'll move on to
Oh,
number
we got
five.
public still?
Number five, anybody in the
Daggone, I'm putting the cart
any-
in front of the horse here.
any comments from the public?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I guess so. I'd like to address the security issue at the pool that I've personally witnessed all summer long. We've, my son looks forward to the pool every year. It's been a tradition. We buy our pool pass, just like a bunch of other people. But what I did not like was when you report that the number one rule that's posted when you enter the pool, no profanity, has been broken. And you have little big kids that don't need to hear it. And Lord only knows I hear enough of it at work during the week. I don't want to hear it in my time at the pool. But when you address the kids that are breaking the rules, they get combative. They've actually tried to fight other adults and try to say that it was a racial thing, and have intimidated entire families just to pack up and leave and not come back. And then we sit here at every one of these meetings typically and talk about how much money the pool loses. Can we not get an SIR that is off during the school year to sit out there and police some of the riffraff? Because I personally still see the same riffraff, for lack of better terms, there as of Tuesday night that are causing the issues. So there's obviously a problem with managing the pool rules. And I understand that most of these kids that are causing the issues don't want to listen to the lifeguards or the pool managers because they're their peers. But there needs to be something done other than making them sit out of the pool for 20 minutes and then allow them to get back in. It's an issue. And I feel it's something that this committee needs to address. Thank you.
We appreciate you comments on, that's a policing issue. When you get to that, I think, I don't know how our lifeguards or managers can do the police. I mean, I guess we could call the police department up there, or I don't know. I mean, do you got any answers, Cliff?
I really don't. I would like to, I mean, it's hard to find an adult to come up here and work at such a short time. And we get these kids in here and they do feel bullied by the same people that are running their mouths in the pool. And there's been a couple of times they've called me up there and I've sent people out. There may have been one time I sent the wrong people out. But we do what we can to try to keep it as calm as possible. And I do believe it affects the income of the pool. I believe that there's families that come up there and get one night of the BS and leave. I support her 100%, but I'm standing on, I don't have the manpower or the help to watch this swimming pool other than 15, 16-year-old kids. I mean, these guys, 16, 17, 18 years old, they're bigger than me. And that's what they like to do, is bully and fight. And the meeting this year, the first thing we talked about was bullying. If anybody felt like they were being bullied, that they didn't have to be intimidated to call me. I look forward to it. I enjoy it. I thrive off of it if that's what the kids want to do. We can get them out of there. But it's just not possible for these 100-pound teenage girls to boss these guys around. And I hate to call names. I've got one lifeguard or one manager, and you would think she's bigger than they are. She don't take any mess off any of them, but she's just one person. And when the guards overlook it, it's hard to do anything about. I absolutely cannot be there all the time. I depend on these young kids to report to me and tell me what's going on. And if they need help in any way, we have had the sheriff's department up there a couple of times this year. They didn't hesitate when we called. But my help is so young, they feel intimidated and bullied by these same people. And there's absolutely nothing I can get those kids to do to to stop it. I mean, they just feel intimidated. I will say, it's not just the pool, it's the entire park. You cannot go past the basketball courts right now without thinking you're passing the correctional center out here. I mean, it's awful. And there's just no way we can control it from my level. There's no way I can control it.
Has anybody got any ideas or might be some good solutions to this? I know, sounds like Cliff's done all he can do. I mean, as far as him and his help.
My guard's called the sheriff's department a couple of times, you know, he's pretty fresh over there. He's new. And he thought he'd befriend them and, you know, get them to like him and they'd kind of play along, but that's backfired. He's realized that now, and he has called the sheriff's department a couple of times on some stuff that's been going on over there. One of them was a firework issue. They were shooting fireworks, bigger fireworks into each other's cars. Just stuff that can get people seriously hurt or caught up in a car fire. Something just, you know, that stupid could get somebody killed in our park. You know, we're not gonna put up with that. We tolerate way too much as it is now, but what do you want me to do? You just tell me. I'd like to put a gate at the end of Marlene Street and close it at 10 o'clock, but we can't do it. I've been told I can't do it.
So I guess my question you asked, what do we do? I think I asked early, do we have any policies in place for profanity? And that seems like that's where we need to start and have a policy in place in our park. It sounds like there's a rule that says you can't do no profanity, but maybe there's no consequences, it appears. For
Who's
that
going to
piece.
enforce it though? What I'm asking you.
My next question for that one, my next piece of that was, we have a sheriff's department and that's their duty is to enforce our pieces. It sounds like they'll come when we call.
I know there's been at least 5 or 6 fights up there in the last month, or maybe more. The law went up there, they talked to them, calmed them down, left. They didn't take none of them to jail, didn't do anything. They just kind of separated them and told them to leave. And that was pretty much it.
There was 2 or 3 girls beat up a girl up there the other night. I got it on video. And because the lady didn't want to press charges because she was on probation, she didn't want me to get the video and turn it over to the police. So there's so many ways that this just falls apart before I can get it to law enforcement. If they would do anything, that's just where I'm at. I mean, we've been through this for years. As long as I've been a part of this park and seeing what's going on, you know, we've talked about it. Cecil Hussey came in and offered to redo my camera system, put a satellite system and plumb it to the jail, to dispatch, to City Hall, admin building, anywhere we wanted it where it could be watched for free. He was going to pay for all of it. They didn't want it done. They did that. They did not want it done.
That was going to be my next suggestion, was in more cameras and some signs that says that the premises is under video surveillance and violators will be prosecuted. But if the sheriff doesn't want video surveillance out there, then you're fighting a losing battle.
They do it in front of the cameras is the thing. I mean, they'll look up at the camera and do something. And that's it. They don't care.
Some of the reluctance from law enforcement is when they do something about it and it goes to court and it goes nowhere.
Now, Mr. Gully's asked the deal about the policies down there. Is any way any committee or something maybe write a policy if at the pool policies or something of that nature? Or who would that fall on? Would that fall under the Parks and Rec? Or-
There's rules period at the park. If I go up there and they're cussing or using foul language, they're gone that day for sure. And like I said, we've had 5 or 6 that are gone for the year. But if my guys are intimidated to call or say anything to the people, then it stops there. And that frustrates parents and other people not to want to bring their kids up there. I know it's happening. I know we're losing money because of that. I don't know what else to do. I really don't. You know, we work very hard at that pool. I challenge any of you up there to come spend the day with me in the spring, cleaning the pool and getting it ready. I spend all day on a pressure washer myself because I want the pool to look right. And this is what we get for it. So, you know, you get to where you hate the pool. You don't want the pool to open. You don't want to have anything to do with it. So I'm just at my wit's end. I'll do anything you want me to do, but I just don't know what to do about the kids. People say they don't have any raising, but
Well, I appreciate everything you do. I mean, I think our committee does too. I think you do go beyond and, you know, it might come to might have to hire a police officer down there. I mean, if it keeps getting any worse, I don't know what another solution is. I mean, that's something we may have to look into if it keeps getting worse. I mean, that's the only thing it can enforce the law is the police officer down there. I mean, the Cliff can just do all he can do. I mean, that's it.
Let me ask you a question. How many of these that are doing, what's the number of ones doing this? How many are of your regular offenders over there?
well, there's 5 at any given time. I've never seen them all up there at one time, but there's 5 to 6 at any given time, boys. If the girls are there, it's like she said, there's 12 to 14 of them. And the girls are worse than the boys. I mean, we've just been talking about the boys. The girls are worse than the boys. I can get witnesses from that.
Just a thought, is there any chance that any of the SROs, since they're out for the summer, could take this on as a part-time job? Or are they still at school during the summer or? Okay.
Would it help if we started barring those kids that are the problems? The one strike and you're out deal with it?
We always warn them and we'll send them home for a day a couple of times. Like I said, there's 6, it's gone for the year. You can bar them, they'll stand outside the fence. It's impossible to phase these kids. They have no shame and they just don't care. I'm not gonna name any names because there's a bunch of them, but I don't know. You tell me what to do and I'll do it.
That SRO is a good, maybe we could look into if they could have some hours they need to get. I mean, I think it's getting to the point during the pool season and during a busy time, we're gonna have to get to be a police officer down there or something.
We can't let 14 people take down the entire park system for the whole community. You know, that's a shame.
Mayor, you got any advice or solutions?
Well, I'd say probably the sheriff's department, if they don't see it for a misdemeanor, they're not gonna make any arrests because you can't really. So you're gonna have to start reporting it to a judicial commissioner. If you've got camera footage or something like that and can identify them, take it to a judicial commissioner and press charges on them. You start doing that to a few of them, that might get the rest of them to follow along, get in line. But at the end of the day, you can't have, whether it's a 100-pound lifeguard or a 200-pound security guard we got down there, at the end of the day, that's a law enforcement issue. That's not something, we can't have our people start getting in physical alterations with them. That's not going to work out on our side. So that would be, right now, right off the top of my head, that's the only thing I can think of that's really going to do it. And as far as the SROs, I think they go on to patrol when they're not working as SROs. There is a grant I'm trying to work with the sheriff on to see if maybe we can use some of that funds to pay for more sheriff's officers in the park. You can kind of put it on there as litter prevention, since we've had some litter issues down there, to try to have maybe more patrols or some kind of overtime in the park. But we're still in the early stages of work on that. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but right now, I think probably just trying to get footage, or at the end of the day, I've talked to a few people, and Mr. Slee has as well. And I've told them, you're going to have to talk to a judicial commissioner and do it. And that's where it stops. Nobody wants to go down there and follow that route. And it can't be, Cliff's staff didn't see it, so they can't go down there and tell a judicial commissioner, I swear under oath that this happened. And it's something they didn't even witness. So that's where there's been some issues there, but I think that's the only route. If we start getting some prosecutions using, whether it's footage or some people are finally willing to come in and go through the court system, I think that's the only way you're going to address it, because we can't address it through Cliff staff. It's gone beyond what they're going to be able to do.
As I'm sitting here and sort of pondering the thoughts here, if I've been in education for a little while, and one thing that always helps in a situation is documentation. So do we have anywhere where we're keeping a good record of that documentation of an event that happened with so-and-so individual, and it continued to happen? So once we start to build a piece of documentation, then we can take something to a judicial commissioner and say, here's our issue. Here it is on film on this day. Here it is on film on this day. Same individuals, and we've got documentation hand in front of them. When we just say, "Hey, we're having this problem," and I hear it sounds like it's definitely a major problem for us, we would always want a good record of documentation. The steps we took. You were barred for a day. You were barred for 2 days. You were barred for a week. And this continued when he came back. You were asked to leave due to this reason. It sounds to me that that's going to be our first step, is we really need to get good documentation of the situations that took place and record that somewhere so that we've got something to hand to our judicial commissioner to say, hey, here's the case, here's our plea. We've got ample number of adults with family that are down here, and they're leaving our park, not being able to utilize it because of the youth in our park and some of their behaviors. So once we start documenting, and once there sounds like it's not necessarily as much a law enforcement as it is the whole piece that needs to happen here in this case. If a fight happens, we get into a law enforcement issue. I don't understand fireworks and how that's not a law enforcement issue, and something's called at that point with someone shooting fireworks at someone. That sounds like it's a law enforcement issue to me up front. However, documentation of each of those events that we had interaction with kids where we had a situation come up that we're talking about here. We can continue to throw it around and pass the football all day long, but until we start documenting what happened, who was involved, and push that along, then we don't really have the pieces we need. As long as we can start, I mean, they're on video. I don't mind a bit you coming up and saying, hey, who are these kids? If we need to, we know most of the kids in Travis County in that office up there. If we need to identify some kids, I'm sure as long as that's legal, I can check into that piece, but we can identify some kids if we need to on video to say, here's a documentation of situations that happen. To me, it sounds like that's where we need to start, is documenting the events as they take place and the interactions that we have.
It goes back to an intimidation issue with my younger staff, and we're paying these kids $8.50 an hour to do paperwork. They're not going to do it. I mean, for the intimidation factor that's involved in it and what they're making, they'll go home. They're going home now, and they're not having to do anything but sit up there and eat popsicles. So I know they're going to go home. It goes back to help, Landon. And we're doing everything we can do in that department, but it goes back to help. And I may say some things that's going to hurt your feelings, but I can't make these kids work, man. I mean, I'm at the end of my rope with them because I didn't either. I'm doing all I can do, sir.
I never have believed you weren't. Don't take me the wrong way here. I'm 100% in support of you. I hope you see it that way. This is not me against you. This is saying you bring a problem to us. Here's some solutions that I see as opportunities to fix it. I don't imagine somebody's not going to be willing to sit there and get paid to say they ain't got to stand in front of them and document the situation right in front of them. They just got to document it off the scene there. Afterwards, here's what happened. A quick write down of the situation and what happened. That can be a simple. Here's the reporting policy for if a situation X, Y, and Z take place. All we ask you to do is name the participants involved and the situation you witnessed. That doesn't have to be signed by the individual themselves. And they don't have to confront them and say, hey, I'm writing you up. That's not their job at that point. It's just to say, here's how we're starting to take care of it. And it sounds like to me that would make more of those individuals want to come to work if we're behind them and giving them an out where they can deal with discipline issues such as this.
I'll tell them.
I'm not saying you gotta tell them. I think we need to come up with a policy and piece for you to work with that and have you here's our policy, here's what we're asking you to write. When you witness a situation, when you overhear those language situation problems, you see a fight, we document the individuals. Hey, when did it happen? Just document the time it happened. Then we can go back and look at a camera and see if we can find out who individuals and what took place. I think that's the quick way here to deal with this situation. To start dealing with this situation. Don't hear me wrong. It's going to take time to start to work out those problems. But once there's you sit there, what bothers me the most in this whole conversation we've said is you said kids will look up at the camera and dare you to do something, and then we're not doing anything. Once we start documenting that piece, surely we can get something done. If we can't, we've put everything we can to help those employees as much as we can.
Yes, sir.
Cliff, are we still using the incident and reports? Can they fill out incidents like when situations like this happen? Say, I know when I was there, we had the reports that we could fill out, like if somebody cut something or something like that extent. Could they not use that same type of documentation or something similar to that just to document it? Not saying that they have to give it to anybody but just to keep a paper trail record, I think is what Landon is looking for.
Yeah, I understand what he's asking for, and that's not, it won't be an issue to do that. But my problem with it is that it's not gonna go away, and we're not paying them to do this, you know what I mean? And we say, well, you have to do this along with what you're doing, or go home, and they're like I just said, that they're already going home. I don't know what I can do to keep the help up there. So we can start it. We do have them. They're used now for accidents when somebody gets hurt, but we hadn't used them for anything like that. We can start.
That sounds like, a start, maybe to do an incident report anytime, something like that. Well, this year's about over at the pool, so maybe it's something that next few months, we need to get something ready for the next year.
I won't disagree about the pool, but it sounds like it's a park as a whole issue, so we need to start now.
I think we could come up with some type of form. It doesn't have to be necessarily the incident form that is used at the pool, but just like kind of like an occurrence, a disciplinary action thing that we can do for like, hey, a verbal warning was given, or, even if they told them, or this occurred and we seen this, it's documented at this time. Not necessarily that it actually has to be given, but it would be another step coming into your office, Cliff. I understand that, but maybe after so many occurrences, then someone does speak to them.
But if you get all this documentation and you still got enough, who's going to the magistrate with it? The Cliff or the individual it happened to? I mean, that's where you stand. I mean, who's going to go to the magistrate with all that?
Mayor Chambers, maybe we need to look at policy here in this case, and what is legal, what is not legal in terms of identifying youth, identifying these adults. I know when they're in a public place and we have a camera system, there's some legalities there that are okay. They've already made that choice to walk in, as long as it's identified that this is under surveillance. And I believe we have signs that identify surveillance is taking place in these areas. So maybe it might be more pertinent to us between now and that next meeting in August, if we schedule one, to really look into those policies and what's available to us. And can we come up with some kind of documentation sheet that is a running record? To me, we can document it on paper and then we get somebody to put it online. That way it's easier to look back and say, all right, so-and-so's names come up 4 times. Here's the issues, and start looking at a spreadsheet or something of that form. But my first concern is the legality of those pieces that we might need to look into.
Well, that'd be a Mr. Beller question. I'm not the county attorney, and I'm not going to give legal advice for that. So, but I understand what you're saying, and you are right. There are several legal issues you're gonna have to deal with. Make sure you do it correctly so that we don't create problems for ourselves.
One question I do have, do we have signage at the park? I've been there many times, but I never looked to see that says video surveillance under, in some form or fashion,
Yes, sir.
identifying that
Yes,
it's
sir.
surveillance.
Yes, sir. They tear them down. We have to hang them about once a week.
Do we have a video on the sign that's showing who's tearing it down?
It's just as easy for me to put them back up and get back to work. I've got entirely too much to do. I can't pay somebody to stay over and watch a video all day. We spent all day yesterday and a half a day today watching 12 hours of video from Tuesday because we lost $100 at the swimming pool. We found it. They put it under the change drawer and had a shift change, and first shift manager didn't tell the second one what she did with it. So second shift manager spent from 10 o'clock after Tuesday night until 12:30 Wednesday morning working to find the money and redoing the entire inventory. She worked her tail off because there was a simple miscommunication or no information about where that $100 bill went. But we found it, got it back. But like I said, we spent 2 days watching video just to try to find a $100 bill. So a lot of times it's just cheap and easy for me to patch it and go on.
I appreciate and commend you that side of it, and I realize you're a busy man as we look at this piece, but it sounds like our park is getting a bit out of hands where we might have to spend a little time up front to get that piece back under control. And once we can get those documentations, get things back under control, it will lessen the amount of that happens. You know, it's kind of like, here's the fire that's burning. We got to pump water on it at this point. Our citizens deserve a safe place to go and enjoy the park. I didn't realize it was near this bad. I hadn't heard these conversations that much. I'd heard a little bit of profanity conversations that had gone on, but had no idea it was to this extent.
Yes, sir.
We've got another meeting at 7 o'clock, so we need to try to end this meeting. Everybody look at your calendar and see if, sometime in August, to end of August, or sometime where we can get the final updates on the pool, maybe get some more answers on this. What about August 18th? Anybody get anything scheduled for then? Do y'all know of, Mayor?
If it's possible, would the 16th of that work on that Tuesday night or the 17th on a Wednesday? Because for me, and I don't mind missing if y'all need to do the meeting without me, but football starts kicking off, volleyball starts kicking off and all that. I've got a football game on the 18th. That's the only reason I asked that. Got another one on the 25th.
The 16th is good with me. Is it, you know, I mean, I hadn't seen a calendar for the 16th. Sound good for everybody else?
I don't think there's a lot of meetings currently set for August. I show the 16th that's currently available. Usually Amy's really good about updating that if a meeting is set. I don't see a meeting currently set on the 16th, so I would tentatively say it's available unless somebody's come in and just hasn't been put on there yet.
Cliff, is that 16th good for you? Give you time to get all the closing figures and everything, or we need to give you a little
Yes,
bit more
sir.
time?
No, sir. We'll have it. We'll have it.
August 16th.
Another thing I'd like to say is
6.
I would like something put in place where we can just, if my guard witnesses something over there, why can't we ban these people from the park? You know, we've done it before. It's kind of fell lax, and I've never seen a policy or anything in place that says we can do that. We've just done it. I don't know if how much longer I can get away with that though.
Mayor, is that something that you can check with Mr. Beller to see if we're capable of doing that?
Yeah, I think that would roll into the policy Commissioner Gully was speaking about, because I think you'd need that, plus also the basically data retention policy for the footage, and that way you make sure that there's a chain of custody. You can't say somebody come in and fooled with it, all those kind of things. I think that'd be one, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'll check to see what Lebanon and Gallatin and some other communities got and see what kind of policy they have for their parks and whatnot.
That sounds good. Get some ideas from how they handle these situations. Do I hear a motion to, is anything other business need to be brought up? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Ms. Atwood, second by Mr. Gully. Thank y'all for coming. August the 16th, 6 o'clock. Is that what we said?